This stream is cleared for takeoff.
Welcome, race fans. We have got a fantastic event coming up for you today. This is the preliminary qualifying heats of Series 2 of the Microsoft Flight Simulator Reno Air Race Series, presented by our good friends at Tobii Eye Tracker. Joining us on our panel today, we've got two very special VIP guests. I can't wait to introduce both of them to you. Up above me on your screen right now, we've got from YouTube, who you may have seen before, but for those of you who don't know him, you definitely want to check out his channel. Go over to YouTube right now and subscribe to him. We have Blue Games. Welcome, Blue.
What up, what up, what up? What's going on, beautiful people? It's good to be here. I think that Greg is more of a VIP than me, but I'm just thankful to be here, and I'm looking forward to some really good racing.
All right, that's great. So, Blue, we previously had you on the channel back last summer and again in January, where we did some kind of like exhibition races with some other community content creators, Twitch streamers, and so on. What did you think of those events? Did you have a good time? What do you think of the Reno Air Race mode in Microsoft Flight Sim?
I had so much fun, and I always have fun racing with you guys on Reno Air Races. And I'm very competitive, and the thing about Flight Sim is that there's usually not a whole lot of competitiveness going around because you're mainly just trying to get places safely. When it comes to racing, it's like, hey, I get to mix my passion, racing and flying, and I get real competitive. So last time I was real focused because my whole goal was just to beat you. Like I was like, because last year you whooped my butt. You really humbled me last year. I was like, I got to come back and I got to compete. And so I was happy that I was able to. But it was so much fun. I enjoy racing all different classes.
Great. Well, and then we loved having you. And yeah, you did put your money where your mouth is there. You did practice, you put the work in, and you did beat me in a few of those exhibition match races back in January.
I had to work hard for it. It wasn't easy.
All right. Also joining us today, we have Greg Gibson from the Reno Air Racing Association, the real world Reno Air Races, not the simulated version you're seeing today. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks, CD. Appreciate that. And I don't think I'm quite as cool as Blue. Blue comes off. He's got his channel. He's got his followers. He's got his fans and everything. I'm just the guy behind the scenes. So I think, Blue, you definitely got the cool factor handled today. But we're excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, Greg. Thank you so much. I've already seen a question about it in the chat, so let's address this right away. There was some really big news came out of the Reno Air Racing Association last week. To all our viewers out there, why don't you talk about that, what happened, and what's in store for the future for National Championship Air Races and Air Show?
Well, as many of you may have seen, the announcement was made last Thursday that 2023 will be the last year for air racing at Reno Stead Field. Now, notice we did not say this is the last year for air racing, nor did we say this is the last of the organization, the Reno Air Racing Association. We are actively searching for a new home to host the races. The races are absolutely part of the fabric of, the United States. We've got an amazing following that is extraordinary in their passion. And, many of the racers here are part of that community, and we're growing that community all the time. So it's definitely sad that we're moving on from our historic home after 59 years. And just, an unfortunate, I guess, developmental sequence that brought us to this situation. But that being said, there's a tremendous opportunity for the future of air racing as we look ahead. So definitely, if you've got the means and the time to get out to Reno for this last race at Reno Stead, we sure hope people will come out. It is the 13th through the 17th of September, and it is at our historic home in fabulous Reno. And, if you've got questions, bring them up through the chat. We're certainly not afraid to talk about it. We'd love to answer any questions and get the right messaging out there for you and keep you informed. We definitely want you to follow us at Reno Air Races on all our social channels.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Greg. And I will echo your message there about getting people to come out and support the real races. Jane and I were very lucky and fortunate to be able to attend the Reno Air Races in person both the previous 2 years, 2022 and 2021. As an aviation fan, this is one of the best events in the world you can possibly attend. There are so many cool aircraft, so many great pilots, ground crews, other people involved in flying and race flying. Plus, there's the air show as well. So in between the race heats, there's always some kind of exhibition happening in the skies above. Great community that they've got there at Reno. And I will say, compared to most other events, this one I was really surprised. You can get up close and personal with all these great aircraft and the crews that fly them and maintain them. And they're always, at least in my experience, they were always so happy to talk to the fans and answer questions and pose for photographs, autographs, whatever. Just a really, really awesome event. So for any aviation fans out there, if you are able to get to Reno Stead Airport in September of 2023, I will highly recommend it from personal experience. All right, but let's talk about our event for today. This is the qualifying heats. We have 2 rounds of Reno Air Racing in Microsoft Flight Sim. We have the qualifying heats today and our grand finals, same time, same place, next week on March 22nd. So the format of the event for the qualifying heats, we have 4 rounds, heats A through B, of unlimited class racing. The winner, the first place finisher in each of the qualifying heats, will automatically advance to the grand finals next week. However, we also have 3 wildcard spots up for grabs. So even the non-winning racers, if they put in a really competitive time and finish up there with a very fast race time, but maybe they were second place by a fraction of a second, that doesn't mean they're eliminated. They still have a chance for one of those 3 wildcard spots, and that will give them qualification for our grand finals next week. Now, in terms of our grand finals, let's talk a little bit about what our racers are competing for. So our title sponsor of this event is Tobii. For those of you who may be familiar with that, it's the makers of the Tobii Eye Tracker 5, which is an absolutely fantastic product. I have one myself. I love it for flight simulation. Highly recommended. And our top 3 finishers in the grand finals will each receive an Eye Tracker 5, compliments of Tobii. And additionally, we also have some prize packs provided very generously by Greg and the Reno Air Racing Association and by the Microsoft Flight Simulator team for the 7 grand finalists as well. So that's what's on the line. I'm just going to ask Jay. Oh, actually, I should mention we have myself, Blue, and Greg are your on-screen commentators today, but we could not do this event without 2 people working very hard and tirelessly behind the scenes. We have Jane, who very quickly introduced herself. She's running all the audio-visual production that you see on your live stream today, doing some fantastic work. There she is. Welcome back, Jane. And we also have Peter, who is the real MVP. I cannot thank Peter enough for what he's doing. He is organizing all the race lobbies, and he's also going to be in the races himself as a fly on the wall using the drone cam feature in Microsoft Flight Sim to give us some very dramatic and beautiful shots of the racers as they speed around the pylons at Reno Stead Airport. It begins with a qualifying lap. So each pilot will do 1 lap on their own. So there'll be a solo plane on the course. They're only competing against the clock at this point. And then based on the results of the qualifying lap, that will determine the starting grid for the head-to-head race, which will be 8 laps around the course, and that will follow this 1 qualifying lap. So here it looks like we're on board with Peter. Now, again, Peter is not actually competing, but he does have to sort of fly the qualifying lap to proceed to the real race. When the real race does begin, Peter will deliberately fly his plane off the course and then switch into drone mode to give us some beautiful views for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's very interesting how you guys do that. I'm like, how how the heck? But it's very, very, very innovative way of creating like a show out of this, like an esports feel, you know what I mean? So I think that's great.
It's really cool. I wish we could do that. I wish we could do that live. They just FAA is not having drones out there on the course, so this is actually you get a little better look at it from a view that we might not normally see. Very cool.
Now, Jane, I see you're jumping between multiple points of views there. A couple of our racers in each heat have volunteered to share their screen with our production team, Jane and Peter, so we can jump back and forth and show you onboard cameras from several of our races. Let me just check my notes here. 1 moment, please. For Heat A, we have Ghost and Luma will be our onboard cameras for this event. So thank you to both of them who are flying their qualifying lap right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun to watch these guys' point of view as they go head to head, wing to wing. It's gonna be pretty crazy. Looking forward to those first person views as well.
All right, looks like qualifying is over. Let's take a look at our starting grid. So we have Heavy Hemi has the pole position with a qualifying time of 58 seconds, 0.7. Luma and Ghost, our two onboard cameras, are just barely behind. Peter, of course, doesn't count because he's one of the race marshals. And then, it's gone. I didn't get a chance to look at our last two there. But here we go. Here's the race is actually starting. And this is for the first qualifying Heat A. Now, Greg, over to you here. We are racing in the unlimited class. We've got P51 Mustangs on the course today. What can you tell our viewers who may not be familiar with the different classes that race at Reno? What's special about the unlimited class?
Well, the unlimited class is really what brought racing, into, its prime. In 1964, when racing began, it was a lot of warbird, former military aircraft that flew, and particularly in World War II, and the P-51 Mustang being such a contender, during that conflict, and even afterwards in the Korean War, and even further, really was kind of a go-to choice. And there's a lot of them in there. You'll see Sea Furies, you'll see Spitfires. There's any number of different types of aircraft that fall into the unlimited class. Most of them are, the World War II era standard bearers for the military, forces that they represent. In this case, the P-51s are duking it out right here as you see them going around the course. The Rolls-Royce Merlin engine was just absolutely something that was a beautiful addition to aircraft around that era. And you combine it with the technology of a laminar flow wing, which was very innovative at the time. It was probably the single most important development in aircraft and certainly warfare at the time. It gave the U.S. Armed Forces, the British, those who were flying the P-51, a distinct advantage over their adversaries, just in the way of technology and being something that came start to finish one of the fastest deployments of technology in the history of aviation. So definitely something worth getting online and Googling to check it out. You'll see what the P-51 Mustang could do. Most of what you'll see here, matter of fact, I think everything in our lineup was originally a D model. You will see a lot of aircraft that, especially your Voodoos, your Stregas, those aircraft, the very famous racer aircraft, are extremely modified, highly modified from their original configurations in order to perform even more impressively during racing. So you'll see them, they'll narrow the wings, they'll clip the wings so that they're not quite as long, gives the aircraft a lot faster turning capability. You'll see canopy modifications. You'll see the joints being taped off and having them, slick down to, reduce drag. There's so many things that the unlimited category, brought to aircraft because of their desire to win. So now they took that amazing technology that was already there for the time and brought it up to modern standard using, the genius of people as they went into the race mode, taking these aircraft out of military service and into racing.
This is such a freaking good race going on right now.
I know, right there,
I'm sorry to change the subject, but oh my god,
I was actually about to throw it over to you, Blue. Anyways, let's talk about what we're seeing. What's happening in this race?
Yeah, come around. I think it's up on the Valley of Speed on pylon 5 as they drop low for the top 3. I mean, they are neck and neck. I mean, this is such a tight fight. You see these guys battling the wake turbulence from the different aircraft, and wake turbulence is definitely simulated in Reno Air Races, and it's a major thing. And CD, honestly, if you would like to explain, because I don't know well enough about it, but there's a trick to that wake turbulence that you can actually get an advantage. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not as good as some of the racers you're seeing today, like Heavy Hemi and E-Ghost. I usually try to stay out of the wake turbulence myself. I know a lot of people are familiar with auto racing, like car racing, and there is an advantage just to slipstream in that, how you want to stay immediately behind another car, and then you can use that to sort of slingshot yourself around them. It doesn't work, as far as I know. Again, Heavy Hemi, Ghost, who just took the lead, by the way. He was in second place. It's just
we do have our first pylon cut too, as well. Yeah. Ouch, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that'll cost him.
Yeah,
and don't forget, if you're not in first, time does still matter. So push, because you can still make it into the grand final as a wild card if your time says so.
We've got Heavy Hemi with has just taken back first place from Ghost. You can see how tight this is. But Luma is right there with them as well. They were on board with Luma right now. You can see just how competitive the top three in this race are. So certainly, I think whoever finishes second and third in this heat is putting up a very good time for now for one of those 3 wildcard spots.
Yeah, I legit have no idea who is going to win this. It's still anybody's game. We got Heavy Hemi up in front, but I mean, it's still Ghost could get it, Luma could get it. Oh wow, this is what racing is about. It's the type of racing I love to watch. It's tight neck and neck race. You can tell these guys have experience. You can tell this is not their first time, not their first rodeo in these unlimited class aircraft. So it's pretty amazing.
So I don't know if you're watching the splits on the right-hand side of your screen there. So we were on board with Ghost a moment ago. It showed Ghost was 0.1 of a second, 1/10 of a second behind Heavy Hemi, and Luma was in turn 1/10 of a second behind Ghost. So the distance between first and third in this heat is 0.2 of a second. So this is such a tight race, and what a great way to kick it off for Heat A on our Reno event today.
Oh yeah, looks like coming around for is this lap 7, I believe, or is this lap 8? Final lap?
Yeah, coming up.
Yeah, we're on lap 7 now. Yeah, 7 of 8.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
A little bit behind.
So you got all the aerodynamic factors are simulated so accurately in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but you also, gravity. When they're coming around, the pylon into the valley of speed there, you'll see them, use that to their advantage as they are able to start heading kind of downhill from an elevated position. The terrain is up, and as they come off of that pylon 5 there, head down into the valley there, they're using gravity to gain that position to the outside, and legally, the outside is the only way to pass at the Reno Air Races. So it's a fight. We got a fight on our hands right here.
We got a fight. We're coming around to the start-finish line for final lap of Heat 1, which has so far been
Here we are.
fire. Oh my gosh.
White flag. It looks like Luma has dropped off the pace a little bit. I saw he was now 0.7 seconds behind. He was 0.2 behind the lead a lap or two ago. Heavy Hemi and Ghost, though, are really battling it out.
Yes. Can he get Heavy Hemi? He can do it, but it might take a mistake. Got to avoid that turbulence, though, where it definitely will slow you down. Comes to the second half of the course. They come out of the valley of speed. The final few corners is basically one left turn. Let's see who finishes on top.
Ooh, I thought we might have had a pylon cut there. That was so close.
It was close. I was saying that was pretty close.
It's a game of inches at the Reno Air Races.
It is a game of inches.
And one more pylon. I think he's opened up the gap. Heavy.
Here's our top 3.
There it is.
There it is. Heavy right there.
There, we see on your screen now. Again, thank you, Jane, and our production team. There is our updated leaderboard. So we have Heavy Hemi, the guaranteed finalist, as the winner of Heat A. And there we have our current 3 wildcard spot holders, Ghost, Luma, and Hail Stormin. But still 3 more heats to go. We've got the guaranteed finalists from B, C, and D, the winners of each of those heats. And then we still have those 3 wildcards, which could change depending on the speeds and times that our second place or third place, fourth place runners up in those other heats put up. Since we are ready, let's switch over. There, we got a full lobby for this one. Hopefully, we're going to have a very competitive race. Let's hope it's just as exciting, if not better, than Heat A was. Here we are with the qualifying lap for Heat B.
I think qualifying is so important in these air races, which is surprising to me. I didn't expect qualifying to even be a part of air racing. I don't know why I thought that, but yeah, I didn't think that. And if you can start number 1 or pole, as we call it, I'm not sure if they call it that in air racing, but basically it puts you on the inside row. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
What gives you the best line basically into turn 1, which will help you avoid that wake turbulence.
Yep. Out in front is definitely the best place.
Oh yeah.
Once again, I think we're on board with Peter here now. Peter is our camera operator, one of our race officials, not technically taking part of the race, but you're seeing his point of view now. Oh, he's pulling some aerobatic maneuvers.
He You can do it. You're not going to position very well, but you can do it.
Well, that's all right, because Peter actually deliberately wants to be in the number 8 spot, qualifying last anyways, since he's not officially taking part. He's just going to be our drone camera operator.
Doing a great job, by the way, Peter.
So who do we have on onboards for this heat?
Great question, Blue. Let me just pull it up right now. We have got Frank and Luzilla are our 2 onboard screen sharers for Heat B. And I'm sure once I'm not sure who we're looking at right now, but when we have the actual race, it'll show their name on the screen, so we'll see who we're looking, whose point of view we're watching.
Yeah, we had a great view last race of that 3rd place aircraft following the back of the heat of the battle there. It was really cool. So hoping to see some good views this time around.
Yeah, you don't want to wish anyone to not finish first.
Right.
As for our onboard camera operators, we certainly get much more dramatic, interesting shots when you're not in first place. You can see some planes in front of you. But we obviously do not. We're not trying to tell them to not raise their best and stay behind on purpose, just to give us a better show. Obviously, that's not what we want. Okay, here we go. Look at our qualifications. Stop with Wally in the pole position, 58.7. Stewart and Captain Jack just barely behind. So very close. Oh, Frank is right up there too. Look at the times between 1st and 6th.
It's a tight one.
1.3
It's going to
seconds.
be tight.
Looks like Luzilla had maybe a pylon cut or something. We see the penalty marker, and then obviously Peter deliberately finished in last place.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight one. That's a very small gap there. We'll see how they perform when there's other planes around them.
Once again, I'm going to put the link to the Reno Discord server in the chat. Again, this is a community-driven Discord server. This is not an official Microsoft server. This is something that our players put together on their own initiative. So those of you who would like to get more involved in the Microsoft Flight Simulator Reno mode, go ahead and join that server. Several of the racers you are watching today take part in this, and they will be always on the lookout for new members to join their group, race against them. And they're very generous with sharing tips. There's no closely guarded secrets here. They don't want to keep all the tips and tricks to themselves for a competitive advantage. They actually really do want to share that with the community and with other players. So if you want to, if you're already a Reno player and you want to get better, that is the place to go, that Discord server. If you're watching our event today and this is inspiring you to get involved with the Reno Air Racing mode in Microsoft Flight Sim, that's the best place to go to start. So go ahead and join that server and get involved with the community. So Blue, over to you. What are we looking at here on lap 1?
We're looking at a very tight battle already. It's like I see 4 different aircraft separated by, feathers, basically. I did want to ask you, CD, though, are collisions on?
No. So one of the collisions we have turned off. That's obviously slightly less realistic. The reason we did that is obviously in the real world, a collision would be very dangerous and would end the race. There'd be a black flag situation. Obviously, we don't want that. Certainly not in real Reno Air Racing. In Microsoft Flight Sim, if there is a mid-air collision, obviously it's much safer than if it were to happen in real life. No one's life is at stake. However, what happens in the race is both planes involved in the collision get bounced back about 5 seconds and then can restart flying their race again. However, unlike the real Reno event where there's race marshals and officials and referees and judges that would determine who is at fault and who should be penalized and who should not be, we don't have that model in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So to keep it fair for everyone, because someone could be flying totally, they could keep the line that they're entitled to fly, and they might be involved in a collision that was absolutely not their fault, but they would still get bounced back by a few seconds, and that could ruin their race. So we don't want that to happen. So for the purpose of today's competition, we have disabled mid-air collisions. One other thing I want to point out too, we can thank Peter for this as our lobby administrator. He is making sure that all 4 heats today use the exact same settings. Weather settings, wind speed, wind direction, all of that is identical. And the reason this is important is for those wildcard spots. For example, if one heat had more favorable winds or weather conditions than another heat, that may put those racers at an advantage or a disadvantage. So Peter's being very careful to ensure that the settings for every heat are absolutely identical.
Yeah, that's good because I mean this right here is such a tight battle. I mean we had such an amazing race on the first heat, but heat 2 has 5 planes. All I mean they are.
This is crazy.
They are right
duking it
there.
out, man. Look at this. Anybody's race.
Anybody's race. I mean, there's a long race too. It's 8 laps around this route, and I mean, anything can happen right now. It's like we have Sop with Wally. I'm not sure how you say that name, but
Sop with Wally.
Sop with Wally in the lead, but Sop with Wally and Captain Jack are trading first and second almost every other pylon. It seems like that, and yeah, I mean, just one tiny mistake is all it takes, and they're doing a really good job of just avoiding each other's wake turbulence and keeping control of those aircraft.
All right. I do want to point out, too, to our fans at home, this is a truly international event, just like the real Reno races are an international event with teams from all over the globe. Our competitors today come from all over the planet. In Heat B, I'm going to tell you kind of where everyone's from here. We have Frank, who is from Portugal.
Hey.
We have Vishal. Let me just find his registration.
Great work for the drone operator, by the way. Great work for the drone operator.
That's Peter. Hats off to Peter for some great job there. Vishal is from the United States. We have Luzilla, who is also from Portugal. Oh, we got a Portugal versus Portugal.
Yeah, Portugal representing.
Oh, man.
Love it.
Portugal representing. Bon dia, yeah.
We
have a gap forming behind fourth.
We have Stuart, who's joining us from Germany. We have Abriel, who is joining us from Italy, so another European. But for those of you who don't know Abriel, this is Giuseppe, who is a tech writer, video game writer over at Tech Raptor.
Wow.
So check out Abriel's articles at Tech Raptor. Very great sort of tech and gaming industry journalist.
It's cool.
We also have Captain Jack in this race, fellow American from the United States. And then finally, Sop with Wally. Let me just check my spreadsheets. Wally's also
right
Wally, who's our current leader, also from the United States. So looks like we got US, and Germany as our top 3 right now, and then Frank in the 4th spot is from Portugal.
I think I just saw a cut there, didn't I?
No pilot. Whoa! Okay. Look how close those top 3 are. Boy, this is close.
It's crazy. This is crazy. I mean, they're coming on. I think this is lap 5, so we're just about the halfway point, and these guys have not let up one bit. We still have no idea who's gonna win this, and I'm really curious about the timing again. Remember that, even though they're closer together, are they running faster times than that first heat? It's gonna be really tight for the wild card as well.
Yeah, we did mention it's possible that all 3 wildcard finishers could conceivably come from the same heat. So even a 4th place finish, if you have a really, really fast 4th place finish in your heat, you could still qualify for the grand finals. All right, Greg, I'm gonna ask you a question here.
Sure.
In our unlimited class of Microsoft Flight Simulator, we have worked very closely with 10 real race teams from the National Championship Air Races. We've scanned their aircraft. We've worked with the pilots and the owners and the ground crews of these planes. 2 of them you see on your screen right now, 2 of the most famous ever from the unlimited class. We have Voodoo and Strega. What can you tell us about these 2 very famous aircraft?
Oh man, those guys. These are from our friends over at Planes of Fame in Chino, California. The Hinton family have their history in these aircraft, and we were talking earlier about modified P-51s. These are two of the most famous. They've got such a history. It's almost hard to get all of the pageantry that goes along with them. Of course, Steve Hinton Jr. Was flying. So I think it was 2017 was when he was able to take his last unlimited gold in that airplane with Strega, and just an amazing fan, amazing group of people. The modifications really are what makes both of those stand out. They both have had such a storied history in the races as time has gone on, and it's a lot of people lament that they haven't seen them in a while, but it really becomes pretty expensive to move these things around and to keep them up to the standards that you're used to. Have heard a couple of rumblings that Strega is flyable. It doesn't have its race engine in it right now. At least the last I heard.
Wait, is that the race?
It's possible.
It looks like we just hit a checkered flag. Sorry, Greg, got to interrupt you right there.
Go.
We just hit the checkered flag. And tentatively, it looks like Stop with Wally. It has taken that. We'll see. We're waiting for the official results. But while we're waiting for those final results to come up, Greg, sorry to interrupt there. Why don't you just continue talking about Voodoo and Strega just for a moment?
No worries at all. Let's talk about Steve-O and even the airspeed record attempt. He was just listening to the airplane as it comes by. It's concussion is the word that you hear. Both of these aircraft. Concussion is the word that comes up most frequently because it just rattles your entire chest cavity. Just the first pass, he's coming by at over 550 miles an hour. He's doing an airspeed attempt record. He's trying to break the record, that his dad had set 38 years prior. And this time he's in Voodoo, and it's just an amazing thing. You think this aircraft's even going to last 4 passes to try to break that speed record? But if you ever see, you look at the aircraft and the way that it's built and the way that its lines are, it really is an impressive piece of machinery. Watching how they've come around over the last few years that they raced. And I apologize. I'm not really the authority on the aircraft that a lot of people are, but it's definitely something that's coming into the races. I've only been around for about the last decade, so there's people who got 50 years on me in this thing. But it's if you've never looked at them, I certainly encourage people to get online and look up Voodoo and Strega, and then just look at the modifications that were made to the aircraft in order to get them up to the 550 plus mile an hour speed ranges. When combat military defensive speeds for the P-51 Mustang was in the 425 range, to take those aircraft up to the 550 mile an hour range is just insane.
Okay, we're just looking at the official results from the last heat there, and I'm updating our official race tracking spreadsheet, and then Jane is going to get show you the current leaderboard. We do have some changes. So Stop with Wally, guaranteed qualifier for the grand finals next week. But in the wildcard situation, we have some changes already.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. I'm looking at these times. I mean, the top time was a 730.781, and the fourth time was a 731.265, which I don't remember what the first time was. I'm looking forward to seeing your spreadsheet here on what's been changed. But I mean, that race, they turned it up, and it was a really good race. I could tell, like, Stop with Wally made no mistakes, because if he did, Captain Jack was right there, Frank was right there. I mean, it was. I was rooting for Frank. I thought Frank was going to get him. Not gonna lie, I was rooting for Frank.
Well, let me tell you something, Frank. As of now, it could change. Frank is in.
Ooh.
Talked about how with a fourth place finish, you could still qualify.
Wow.
Well, Frank finished 4th in his heat, and yet he has just knocked Ghost off from that wildcard spot. Oh, this is incredible. Just as I look at this, Frank, who finished 4th in that heat with a time of 731.265, that time would have been good enough for first place in Heat A. That's how amazing and tight and competitive of a race Heat B was. Wow. Boy, was that a treat to watch that. Looking at,
and you have different classes, so you're moving between them. That was something I was going to ask. I was going to get your opinion on, Blue, having flown this quite a bit. Some of the differences between the different types of aircraft in the simulator. But it does take, depending on what class you're following, it takes a little while to get the, all of the marshals and the judges and all of their, observational tools and kits reset for the next heat. So it can vary. It can be usually between 20 and 30 minutes is typical. again, depending on weather conditions, sometimes it can go longer, which can really affect your preparation, mentally when you're a pilot and you're going to be flying. You're all dressed up and nowhere to go sometimes because the wind's kicked up or it has rained. We've had rain.
Sorry, I had a fuel, mate.
Of course, the smoke was pretty tough to manage last year. That was a hard thing to swallow. But it's just, those are the things that make racing so exciting, is you're dealing with Mother Nature in addition to what people are doing on the course. Yeah. You're dealing with what nature's dishing out.
We have a comment here from Nintendo Switch. Says, last year's air races were amazing. I was there for the Saturday show and it was smoky, but it cleared up for the Jet and P51 races.
Indeed. It did. It cleared up nicely on Saturday.
Now, Greg, your logo is on the bottom of our screen there. Now, it doesn't just say National Championship Air Races. It says National Championship Air Races and Air Show. So you're talking about the downtime in between the race heats. It's not like there's nothing happening. It's not like you can't just look up at the sky and there's no planes flying. So what's the air show portion of the Reno event like?
Well, definitely that. Air racing and air shows are two different things that take place in the same space. So, this year we'll have the A10 demo will be there.
Sorry, just got to interrupt you 1 sec. Our qualifying just ended, and we have basically 5 racers separated by just over a second. This is really tight.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm going for the guy named Ultimate
You and
Blue.
me.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
He's the underdog, but that's my vote. That's my choice. I think he's gonna be an upset here. He's the underdog, but that's my vote.
All right. Well,
all right, guys.
Talk to you about the nationalities of our racers.
Yeah, GG, everyone.
Again.
All right, guys.
Talking about the nationalities.
Also, who are we on board with in this week?
Oh, thank you for asking me that. Let me just double check my spreadsheet.
It looks like someone is racing in VR.
We have 3 onboard cameras this time. Dr. Feelgood, 3 onboard Bauman Tufel, I hope I pronounced that right, and Harry. We are on board with.
Yeah, you pronounced it better than I would have. when I looked at the names, I was like, "There's no way I'm saying any of them." Because I can't. Right. But we have a race, lap 1 so far. Dr. Feelgood's up in the lead, and we'll see how long he stays up there. But I'm looking forward to another good race. They go through the Valley of Speed once again for Heat C.
Production team, Jane, I see a comment in chat here. Eight of Dragon says, is there an echo? I do not hear an echo on my end. Everything sounds smooth, but it's possible you may have one audio source unmuted. So maybe there may be an echo, maybe not. But Jane, if you can just very quickly look at that. Thank you. So where our racers come from? So Dr. Feelgood, our current leader, is from Canada. He's living in Toronto, but he's not a Canadian by birth. He's actually from Australia. So anyone who is both a Canadian or Australian may want to be cheering for Dr. Feelgood. Darren, who is currently in 2nd place. Let me just check this.
These have been some good racing so far. Another
they really are, man. They're just
almost side by side, almost like it's basically like 2 formation flights right behind each other. It's like I'm watching the virtual Thunderbirds right now or something. It's pretty amazing.
I mean, the fight is on. They're after it.
Yeah. Darren is from the United States. We have got Harry. Harry's also from the United States, but I believe that's, again, not by birth. If I remember correctly, and Harry, if I get this wrong, my apologies. I believe Harry is South African by birth, but currently lives in the United States.
Hey, way.
Again, I'm going to mangle the pronunciation, so my apologies. Barn Tufel is from Germany. So for our Deutschland fans, there you've got your representative in this race. Not your PC, also another American from the United States. Ultimate Bluth is from Germany. So we got 2 Germans in this race. And then Reese is from England in the UK.
Oh my God, this VR view is epic. I mean, he's showing off too. I mean, look at him doing. Oh, you're wrecked. There it is.
We got some showboating. We had some showboating there, and it did not work out well.
He was looking really good too, and I was like, man, this looks so immersive. And one of the things I want to point out too is I also do fly and game in VR, and it's so immersive. And I think Microsoft Flight Sim does a great job. of giving you that immersive VR experience. But what I did want to point out is if you can't afford VR, if you don't have VR, in my opinion, I think something like Tobii is the next best option for you. Be able to have situational awareness, be able to look around almost 360 degrees and see the plane right next to you. And this VR view is just such a good example of being able to see everything around you at once while you're flying.
Yeah, could not agree more with that, Blue. Tobii Eye Tracker, of course, is our title sponsor for our event today. That's what our top 3 winners, top 3 placements in next week's grand finals will all be awarded a Eye Tracker 5 compliments of Tobii. I personally own one. If you watch our Friday fly-in streams week after week, I always have my Tobii Eye Tracker turned on. If you are not a VR pilot, if you don't fly in virtual reality, if that's not your thing, Tobii Eye Tracker, as Blue said, next best thing. I absolutely love mine. It's great for situational awareness, and I will highly endorse that product from my own personal experience.
Yeah, I agree with the comment in chat too. Is some people kind of struggle with performance with VR. You have to kind of have a bit beefy PC to get VR to work in any game, to be honest. So if that's an issue for you, Tobii is definitely a great option too.
Well, let's talk about our race here. We're on lap 5 of 8. And Dr.
Harry's
Feelgood
in the
and
lead.
Darren just are swapping positions. They're neck and neck. Harry's currently the winner, or the leader, I should say, not the winner.
Oh, whoa there. It's a little early for that.
Yeah.
A little early for that.
A lot of racing left to do.
Yep. We've already saw one person hit the deck and bite the dust, so we'll see if anybody else wants to go for a dirt bath. But so far, it's looking really good. Darren, Dr. Feelgood, and Harry are just kind of trading places. And it is, I am really surprised at just how tight the racing has been in every single heat. When you said you chose random people, I was like, oh, there might be a skill gap somewhere, where it's like, oh, the leader's going to lead by 6 seconds or something like that. That's what I'm hoping not to see. And so far, it has been, tight up front for every single race. And even the guys in the back are really putting up a good fight.
Yeah, and those wildcard spots are very competitive as well. Like, we thought Ghost had an amazing time after Heat A, and then we had 3 runners-up. Spots 2, 3, and 4 from Heat B all overtook the wildcard spots, and we'll see how our competitors in this one do. Look how
we got
Harry,
2.
Darren, and Feelgood.
2 corner cuts
Ooh.
by Reese. I'm not sure where he is at on the because it doesn't send you back; it just adds to your time. Correct.
You'll get a time penalty at the end of the race. I believe it's 16 seconds per penalty, so that'll be 32 seconds added to Reese's time now for the 2 pylon cuts.
Ouch.
That's going to create a gap or 2.
Yeah. Less than a tenth of a second, or just basically a tenth of a second separating our top 2 at the moment. Very, very tight race. And here we are. Yeah, we're on the bell lap.
Again, no idea who's going to win this. We have Harry up in front or Dr. Feelgood. I'm not sure who's in front. They're both trading places right now. But, look at them right above the trees. They're right on the deck going to turn 4 or pylon 4 before the Valley of Speed. And it's just like, it's so cool. One of the things that we saw in a shot earlier, and you can't see it just right now, but if they get low enough, you really see that dirt kicking up from the desert floor down there when they go through the Valley of Speed when they get low enough. It's really a cool effect that is included in Microsoft Flight Sim.
It is, yep.
Well, it's, you compare it to the real thing. That's exactly right. When you're coming out of pylons 4 and 5, there 4 kind of flattens into 5 and into the Valley of Speed. You've got that downhill run that's where leadership can change places.
Well, speaking of leadership changing places, Harry has dropped to 3rd on the last lap. Wow.
Oh.
Dr. Feelgood now has taken the lead. Darren number 2. Harry is still right there, though, in 3rd place. He hasn't dropped too far behind, so still a lot to compete for, and still those wildcards. Look, I think we're on board with Harry right now, and look how close 2nd and 1st are ahead of him.
We're gonna need a photo finish for this at the starting line because this is gonna be tight. I can already see. One thing that's interesting I'm noticing is that in the turns they're obviously having to fight that wake turbulence, but I'm noticing that some of these guys, you can tell their experience because they're using that turbulence or that slipstream to catch up as well at some points. It's something I have not personally mastered, but I'm noticing as I'm watching these onboards that they're using that to their advantage at some point.
Harry has now fought back from 3rd in the last corner. Harry has fought back and now has the lead, but it's a dead heat.
Here it is.
0.
There it is.
Oh!
Who is it? Is it Harry?
It looks like it's Harry. Unofficial for now. We'll see. We gotta wait for the official results. Photo finish in Heat C.
Wow.
Boy, was that one close between our top three. We've got Harry is our winner, and Dr. Feelgood 732.2. Is that going to be good enough for a wildcard spot? It is not.
Yeah, I think that's
No changes to the wildcard. So Frank, who currently occupies wildcard 3 with a time of 731.2, still holds down that third wildcard spot. But Harry, congratulations to Harry, has qualified with a time of 732.250.
Wow. Yeah, it was a really tight, really good race, but I could tell the pace was just a little bit slower than the second heat and the first heat. But still, that's why it's so much important to get that position, get that first spot. But great race. I mean, very tight battle there. And I know Harry and Dr. Feelgood are really good friends. They're part of that Discord community. And there was, I'm going to give you guys a bit of some behind the scenes at the Microsoft Reno Air Racing Series presented by Tobii. What's been going on the last couple of days as we've been setting up these events? There has been not a small amount of trash talk from Dr. Feelgood directed at Harry. wow.
And Harry got the better of him here in Heat C. So, it's fine to trash talk your competitors, but you better back it up with results.
I like it.
And Harry put on a fantastic show there. He was leading for most of the race in lap 8, the final lap. Dr. Feelgood and Darren both overtook Harry briefly, but Harry was a real competitor, fought back, and was able to take the win here in Heat C, securing his spot in the grand finals next week. With one heat left to go, we have Heavy Hemi, Stop with Wally, and Harry. All three of them are guaranteed to be joining us next week for our grand finals. In those wildcard spots, tentatively, we have Captain Jack, Stewart, and Frank, and Heat D is underway with qualifications.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a good one. A lot is on the line with this one right here. The final heat, final slot for the guaranteed grand final, as well as the final wild card, possibly the final wild card, depending on the pace of this race. I'm looking forward to this. It's been great race in the first 3 heats. So Heat 4, let's bring it. I can't wait.
All right. I know our spectators, our fans want to know where each of the racers come from. So let me just give you an update on that.
As well as who are our onboards for this round.
Yeah, we've got Hood Flyer, Flight Level 0, Matt Bold, and Ranganator have all volunteered to share their onboard cameras for Heat D. And let's just go through that. So Hood Flyer is coming to us from France. Bienvenue à la Français, ici. We have Flight Level 0 is coming from Germany. Matt Bold is also from Germany. Ranganator is from Portugal. So our third Portuguese racer in today's event.
Oh, Portugal's coming with it today.
They are bringing it.
We have, I think Maverick is in this event. Maverick 333 is from Australia.
Wow.
And then we have Mad Mac is from the United States. So our lone American in this heat. So again, very good international representation.
Germany is super well represented today. Germany and Portugal, I think, have got they have quite a number of participants in it. This is exciting. That's really cool.
Yeah, we definitely love to see our international representation from fans from all over the world taking part in these events.
Yeah, I love that about the flight sim community, is that people are from everywhere. I mean, it's pretty incredible to see people enjoying the same passion from other countries around the world.
Tino, good job.
Here's the end of our qualifications. Let's see how it is. Flight Level 0 with the pole 58.8. Ooh, that is a good time. And Mad Mac right there, 58.9.
Really?
Really
Yeah, all
close
50
qualifications here.
No one over a minute. No one over a minute.
This is going to be a fast race. Oh boy. Maybe we've saved the best for last year.
Oh boy. 58 is pretty good. That is pretty good. We'll see how the pace goes in the race, but 58 is pretty good.
Now, CD, I got a question for you. has the time of day stayed consistent between races, or has the sun begun to come down a bit as the races have gone on here?
Well, that's a very good question, Greg. And because we wanted to keep this as fair and even as possible, Peter, through the magic of technology, is able to rewind time and control the weather. So he is able to set the time of day, the wind speed and direction, the weather conditions, everything to be exactly identical for all 4 heats. So
Gotcha.
should be no competitive advantage to flying in Heat A versus Heat D or anything in between.
Yep. And for the final heat of the day, we have a race, baby. Let's go. This is gonna be good.
I'm noticing that I'm noticing that some of the tags on the course are French now.
Yeah, well, we did have one French competitor in this race,
Yeah.
and so
Very classy.
they can configure their in-sim language. There's multiple languages are supported by Microsoft Flight Sim, and we are adding more localization for other countries. Most recently in Sim Update 12, which is currently in public beta testing, but launching very soon.
Yeah,
we're adding Turkish and Korean language support to Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Very cool. Just such an amazing community that this has developed around such an amazing sport. So it's great to see this, and it's fun to see these perspectives. This is not something I would have gotten to see from my own cockpit. So watching it this way or watching how they've done this is really fascinating.
So look at this. It looks like we have 2 distinct groups.
So windy today.
Have broken off so far. Flight Level 0, Matt Bold and Mad Mac are kind of battling for the lead, and then not very far behind them, we have Raginator and Hood Flyer are right there battling neck and neck as well.
I mean, honestly, all 6 are right there. I mean, it's a very small gap between 3rd and 4th right now. It's looking really good. I mean, they're kind of all over the place in a way. You can see they're really working those joysticks right now, like really trying to fight the turbulence of the wake turbulence. I mean, it gets worse the farther you get behind the field. Like for 2nd place is bad, for 3rd place is worse, for 4th place is even worse than that. Because imagine think about a 737 taking off and the massive weight coming off of it. It gets bigger as it goes far behind. Think about 3 737s taking off together, how much weight that would create. Now, this is obviously much smaller, much condensed version of that, but think about all the different weights coming off of these aircraft if you're the 4th place guy.
There's some beautiful drone camera work from Peter. Again, folks in the chat, big round of applause, virtual applause, and a huge thank you to Jane and Peter, our behind-the-scenes production team. They're the real unsung heroes. We could not do this event today without them. So thank you so much to both of them. And see a comment from chat from Heavy Hemi, who was the winner of Heat A. Heavy Hemi asks, what if this heat clean sweeps the 3 wildcards? Well, that is actually a distinct possibility, because currently, right now, Heat B has swept the 3 wildcards. Captain Jack, Stewart, and Frank tentatively have those 3 wildcard spots, but that could all change. That's not set in stone yet. We got to wait to the end of this heat. And look, now 4 of them are all right up there. It almost looks like they're flying like a finger 4 formation.
It does.
It does, yeah. Comment on that.
I mean, these guys are running low 58 laps, by the way. I'm looking at their deltas. They're 58-second lap times. It's only lap 3 or 4 right now. So, I mean, this could be close. Like you said, they could sweep all the wild cards, but we'll see at the end on what that pace looks like. But look at that Matt Boyd up in the front now.
If you're wondering, folks, why one of those onboard camera angles looks right here, looks a little bit askew, this racer is actually playing in VR and sharing their virtual reality point of view. So it's really cool that you're seeing an onboard camera from a VR player in the Reno Air Race mode today.
Oh, not only that, but he's showing the point of view of the lead. He's winning right now. That's what winning looks like.
Getting pushed.
That's woo.
Look at Voodoo right there. Flight Level 0 flying Voodoo. We're getting a great shot of how close our top 2, Flight Level 0 and Matt Bold, are right now.
This is good. This has not disappointed me at all today. These races, every single one has been just this close. Look at them side by side going into the Valley of Speed. That's tight right there.
I'll have to say, too, we had some great races during the first time we ran the Reno Air Series presented by Tobii last summer. The level of competition since then has gotten so much better. There were a few runaway victories last time. every one of our heats today has been so intense and so close. And next week's grand finals, when we're racing all 4 classes, unlimited jet, T6, and biplane, I can't wait to see what our competitors, because if today's heats qualifying are anything what the grand finals are going to be like, we're in for a real treat next week. Oh, look at that shot!
Fly by. Wow.
That was
from the
beautiful.
That's awesome.
That was amazing.
Yeah, Gascorp points out in chat here. Gascorp had a pylon cut penalty last year, and despite that penalty, still finished second.
Wow.
I think we can definitively say that would not happen this year. The gap between the racers, the level of competition is so much tighter that a single pylon cut would put you in last place this time.
Absolutely. The level of skill this time around is the standard is so high. It's so high. Like, these guys are really coming with it, and they're real. Like, you have to fight for these wins. Nobody's running away. Nobody's gapping. You haven't seen any single leader run away with this. You really have to fight for it.
There's a great view of the
That
pylon.
is awesome.
That's amazing.
That is so cool.
Jane and I, when we were at Reno in 2021, we were very lucky. We got pylon passes, media badges and pylon passes, and we were able to go out.
How did that happen?
We definitely would thank Greg for that. But we were actually able to go out on a bus with our press credentials and watch a couple of the heats in the 2 different race classes from that exact vantage point.
Man.
Boy, was that a treat! What a great opportunity that was, and it was really, really cool to be able to see the planes.
Wow.
Less than 250 feet AGL.
Yeah.
Fly over your head, and you hear those sounds of those Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. So many of them all flying together in close proximity at once. Look at this now. 5 racers.
5 racers are all right there. I think it's between Matt Bald and Flight Zero here. I think they're coming on the last lap, I believe, but anything can happen still between the top 5. That's pretty amazing.
Oh, here we go.
White flag is up. Final lap of the final heat, Heat D, and they have not disappointed. Turned up the heat is between Flight Zero and Matt Ball at the moment as he's there in VR. A beautiful view there. It looks amazing. Right on the deck, right above the trees. Gonna make a hard left turn here at pylon 4. Let's see if he can hold that lead. But 3rd place is not far away. This is gonna be a close one.
And remember, there's still those wildcard spots to contend with as well. Obviously, the heat winner, the first place finisher, will get a guaranteed spot in the grand finals next week. But the 3 fastest runner-up times across all 4 heats can qualify with a wildcard position. And even if you're in 4th place right now, or even 5th place, with the ability to advance to 4th place here in the last few turns, there's still everything to race for, because you could still get one of those wild.
Here we go, final pylon. Who's gonna take it? Who's gonna?
Ooh, photo finish.
Another photo finish.
Wow! Look at all the dirt.
Flying
What
up.
a race!
Now Blue's got some game on this commentary thing. I'm thinking we might have to have him out there for the real thing there, and see if he can't test the chops out on the live stream. What do you think?
I don't know about that, but hey, I'm not
Well, Greg,
gonna back down from a challenge.
You're the man that can make that happen, Greg. So I'll leave that with you.
And it gives me a reason to go to Reno this year.
Good, man.
I should say I watch a lot of racing.
All right.
I can't wait to see these final results.
Oh, there's
section 3.
There's section 3. Yeah. Thank you, Peter, for that drone
Section
cam shot.
3 would be on their feet right now.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of high-fiving going on over there.
There would be no one. There would be no one sitting down.
No, there wouldn't. You probably wouldn't want to leave the camera on them real long.
Yeah.
It is a family show, right?
It's a family show. Oh man, that sounds like a good time.
All right,
Wow.
we're just
see
waiting for
those
the
times.
official race results. Flight level 0 tentatively appears to be our winner of Heat D. Here we go. Let's see what we got. But remember, there are those wild card spots still up for grabs.
7:31. Oh man, I think so. I think this is gonna change up the
It'll be
entire
close.
table.
All right.
This is gonna flip the tables on them.
Let me just update my spreadsheet. Flight level 0 guaranteed in 731.296. Captain Jack is safe. 731.000 from Heat B still stands as wildcard 1. Stewart 731.093 still stands as well from Heat B. Is still good. Oh boy. Frank is still safe, but only by the skin of his teeth. Frank from Heat B had a time of 731.265, which is 0.6 seconds faster than Matt Bolt.
Wow.
So there has been no change to the wild card spots. Flight level 0 as the winner of Heat D gets a spot in the grand finals next week. But Matt Bold, Raginator, Hood Flyer, all of them put in very good times at 7:31, but not quite good enough. So there you go on your screen right now. That is our 7 grand finalists. Wow. And what a fantastic event it's going to be next week when we race all 4 classes. So today's qualifying heats, we just did P51s in the unlimited class. Next week, we are doing in order T6, biplane, jet, and then finally finishing it off with unlimited. And those 7 names you see on your screen: Heavy Hemi, Sup with Wally, Harry Hauser, Flight Level 0, Captain Jack Lyle, Stewart, and Frank. Those are your 7 qualified pilots for next week's grand finals. Now, I will point out, if for any reason one of these 7 has a real life emergency or gets called into work or anything like that, and they're unable to attend, we will then go to a 4th wild card. So whoever had that 4th fastest time, 5th fastest time, and so on. So, there is that sort of potential that if for any reason one of these 7 is unable to attend next week, we will fill the roster. So we're keeping track of everyone's times. But for now, those are your 7 grand finalists for next week.
I am so impressed.
Blue and Greg, I want to thank both of you so much for joining us. You've been great panelists. We've loved having you on the channel. Jane and Peter, thank you so much for your behind-the-scenes work. Great job on the production side of this event. Thank you, Jane. There's Jane, by the way.
Good job, Jane and Peter.
Oh, we can actually unmute?
Oh, you can. There's Peter as well. Unmuted now. Thank you to all of our race pilots today. Of course, our 7 grand finalists who you see on your screen, but everyone else who competed today as well, who took the time, who signed up, registered, and put on a great show for our viewers. This was super exciting, and we were so glad to have a very entertaining stream. And then finally, thank you to Tobii Eye Tracker and the National Championship Air Races and Air Show for sponsoring today's event. All right, I've done enough talking. I'm going to turn it over to Blue, Greg, Jane, and Peter for the last word today. Anything you would like to say or share with our viewers before we sign off?
Yeah, Blue, you're up first.
I just wanted to say congrats to all the racers. I mean, they really put on a show today. They really did. I mean, it was so entertaining. I was literally on my edge of my seat the entire race. So congrats to all the winners. Looking forward to seeing the grand final next week. I think it's going to be a great race. It's going to be real tight. I mean, do you look at these times? Imagine that on, in the sim, all these planes next to each other like that. It's going to be crazy. So looking forward to that. It's going to be great. Thank you guys for having me on Microsoft. Jane, CD, Peter, I really appreciate it coming out. It's been amazing. It's been loving it. Been enjoying it. And good to meet you as well, Greg. And I'm hoping I can make it to the final Reno Air Races here. I think it'd be pretty cool. See what I can do.
All right, thanks. Once again, I put a link to your YouTube channel in the chat. Folks, if you are watching, go click on that link. Hit the subscribe button, like his videos, ring that bell, do all the YouTube things, show your support for Blue Games.
And one final thing, I'll just say, since you're talking about the channel, speaking of racing, on my channel right now, we're doing a world tour where we fly between all of the Formula One racing events. So there's 23 races in the calendar for Formula One, and we're flying between each race, like in cargo planes and stuff like that, in Microsoft Flight Sim. It's been really fun so far. We've already had like 50 people sign up and join. So if you want to check it out, come to the channel, and you know what to do from there.
That's a great event. Very creative. I love hearing stuff like that. So those of you who are Formula One fans, Microsoft Flight Simulator fans, go give Blue a follow on or subscribe on YouTube and take part in his Formula One series.
Thanks, Blue.
All right, great. Greg, over to you.
All right, hey Blue, that was awesome. Good to host with you, and CD, Jane, Peter. Thanks, guys. It was really cool to be here. It is such a wonderful community that has been built around this simulation, and it rivals, I think, the real thing. And there's such a synergy between the two events. I hope everyone that has the opportunity will come out and join us for the final race in Reno for 2023. But it is not the final race. We are very, very optimistic that we've got a long history yet to be told. And we got kind of a 59-year-old lady here that's just ready, getting into her prime, looking for a forever home. So we'll be posting you guys as we move through those. Definitely support our scholarship students and the education programs that the National Championship Air Races helps to support. Definitely want to shout out to all of our volunteers and the people that make that race happen. I think you're well represented in this game. You can see what the fruits of your efforts have produced over the last 59 years. And I can't say enough about the quality of the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. Big thanks to Tobii for their support for all of this. And we hope to see you guys next week, which happens to coincide with our very first day of public ticketing will be available on the 22nd for purchase. It's the first day that public tickets will be available for the 23 National Championship Air Races. So I have some announcements there on that as well.
Sweet.
Perfection. Thanks, Greg. Peter, do you want to add anything? Our drone pilot today.
Well, I was only amazed by the awesome close flying with all those participants.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what's happening next week. If we up the PG rating a bit, we maybe even can include the dirt talking that is happening between them.
Oh,
What
We
you
might
guys
do
can't
I've been
that,
hear.
listening.
you know?
I've been
Really,
listening the
pretty
whole
cool.
time. It's been
was
so
there some trash
entertaining.
talk happening
Well,
on
not
the
some.
That's amazing.
So
I
that might
know.
be cool.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. Even though I was muted the whole time, there were moments where the race was ending. I was like, oh my gosh! Like I was screaming along with everyone. So I had a great time as well. We'll see everyone next Wednesday for the finals. Buckle up for that. It's going to be a fun ride. I'm going to play
but
us
Jane,
out. Yes.
We actually have 2 more live streams on this
That's
channel
true,
before next Wednesday. Do you want to announce to our viewers what we have both on Friday and Tuesday of next week?
Sure. For our Community Fly-In Friday, we are celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and our wonderful Two-Tone Murphy, content creator from Ireland, is going to join us, and we're going to have a great,
That's gonna be
great
fun.
flight. I know, for sure. And on Tuesday, the 21st, I will be joined by Jorg, Seb, and Marcial for our monthly developer stream, where we'll have some announcements and also answer some community questions for the month. And those are the 2 streams before our finals on Wednesday.
All right. Well, once again, huge thank you to my co-hosts, Blue and Greg. Huge thanks to our production team, Peter and Jane. Thank you to all our racers, whether you qualified for the finals or not. You put on a great show for the spectators. I hope you all had fun, and we really appreciate you being here. And to all our viewers, last but certainly not least, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you were entertained by our race, and we can't wait to see you back for the grand finals next week, where we're going to be joined. Greg's coming back next week, so we're grateful to have him returning. But also Chewy94 is going to be in the commentator seat next week, so that's going to be exciting as well.
All right. See you on Friday, everyone.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.